My mate Bram is the hardest of hardcore Porsche files. For him, in fact, Porsche ceased to exist about 20 years ago when the 911 moved from air to water cooling. So you can imagine his confusion when what he refers to as the company formerly known as Porsche produced the Cayenne and more recently Macan SUVs. Bram still remains in occasional therapy, but there's no doubting the Macan's popularity. Then just over a year ago, Porsche launched this entry-level model, the Macan. That's M-A-C-A-N on the boot with nothing after it. No S, no GTS, no turbo. There's plenty of competition at this price point from other premium brands. But this Macan is for people who want this shield and all the heritage and cachet that goes with it. And to get the car to a price point roughly in the middle of Audi's Q5 range, Porsche slipped a relatively humble 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine under the bonnet. The Macan's substantial, but it's not huge, and there are echoes of the iconic 911 in everything from the raked headlights to the broad hip line and slimline taillights. And these 19-inch alloys, which are standard as fitted to the S model one rung up the ladder, fill out these bulging guards nicely. So, is it truly a Porsche or a posh SUV with a Go Fast badge? Like all Porsches, the Macan exudes quality in everything from its design to the fit, the finish, even the feel of things like the switchgear, this steering wheel and these grippy front seats. There's plenty of standard fruit in here too, with the highlights being leather trim with Alcantara inserts in the seats, 10-speaker audio, 3-zone climate control and auto parking. Most of the important safety tech boxes are ticked, but it's worth noting AEB will set you back $3,000. There's heaps of storage up front with a decent sized glove box. There's a cubby here between the front seats with inputs for USB, a 12-volt power outlet, auxiliary for audio. There are big bins in the doors, big enough for bottles, as well as cup holders that also fit bottles, 2 of those in the centre here. And look, there's even a cigarette lighter. Naughty. Here we are in the back, and I'm sitting behind my own driving position set for my 183cm frame. And there's just heaps of leg room, tons of headroom, room for my feet. It's really comfortable back here. There's also lots of storage. Again, there are bins on the doors, big enough to hold bottles. Fold down the centre armrest, and there are a couple of cup holders, again, big enough to hold bottles. There are some map pockets, one on each front seat back, a couple of outlets, USB outlets for powering, and this is the rear ventilation with up and down control for back seaters. It's really pretty good. The luggage capacity is good and on average for the class. It has a 40-20-40 split folding rear seat and an auto rear door, which is really handy. But enough practicality. Porsches are all about the drive, so let's get moving. Performance from the 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder engine and 7-speed dual-clutch auto transmission combination is solid, with strong mid-range punch. And press the Sport button and it sharpens up the throttle response and the gear shifts and amplifies the exhaust note. It's got a tricky all-wheel drive system that under normal circumstances sends 100% of power to the rear wheels, but can send 100% to the front if required. And if you want to get these shiny wheels dirty, the off-road button on the console gives it a default split of 50-50 front to rear. Despite the fact that this car's rolling on sizable 19-inch rims with low-profile rubber, the ride comfort's really excellent and the body feels well buttoned down. And response from this electrically assisted steering is great. It points exactly where you want it to go and the road feel is fantastic. Braking is by big discs, ventilated discs, front and rear with meaty calipers on them, and it's strong and progressive and really reassuring. The whole thing feels very sporty. You forget that you're driving an SUV. It's a great, entertaining, really fun drive. Claimed combined cycle fuel consumption is on par for an SUV of this scale, helped by the standard stop-start system. The entry point to the Macan lineup delivers in terms of equipment, practicality and quality. And just as importantly, it looks, feels and drives exactly as a Porsche should. It's fast, light on its feet and beautifully put together. I'm sorry Bram. Auf Wiedersehen.